Dallas. Shout out to the magnificent Nico Noir. Oh, but we are here today, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to learn. We are, we are, we should all be honored to be in the presence of the commandant. Straight from Texas, from Dallas, Texas. This woman has been through a lot. She has stories to tell, and she educates us. She is a woman to talk to for anything kink related. She is Kinky Google, the magnificent Kinky Google. So let's look stuff up. Ladies
Right?
and gentlemen, please welcome the magnificent, the commandant. Say hi.
Hello. Hello, friends. I hope we're all doing good today. I'm so happy to be here. It took me way too damn long.
It happens.
And
So tell me,
life.
tell me. Oh, just so you know, see, I was so excited. I didn't get to do this. I could take myself out and you could, and then I
Oh,
can come back. Okay. So I'm going to ask you a question. Okay. So I'm going to start it all off the same way. The commandant, what's inspiring you these days?
so I love, okay, I just have to say for comedic effect, I like you could do so many jokes where you just bonk out in the middle and then you should do a bit where you don't explain it to somebody and then just bonk in the middle of questions.
I've done that.
Oh, beautiful. Good. See? Beautiful. Done it beautifully. Honestly, my friends inspire me a lot of the time. I know that's probably a really like cheesy response, but what helps me a lot of the time is surrounding myself with like really, oh, thank you so much, PD. Hello, hello. I like to surround myself with really creative people, not necessarily positive because I can be a cynicist. Oh, hello, Stan. Nice to see you. Um, but also music constantly keeps me inspired. Music, music, music. I'm constantly moving and working to music. Anytime I write, it's to music.
What song did you listen to before you came on the air tonight?
Oh god, I actually, so being truthful, I had a lot of phone
Yeah.
calls to do today. I actually
Or in
didn't get
general today.
in general. I listen to get into the commandant headspace, which I'll get into that later.
Okay.
I really like to 𝕮𝖒𝖆𝖓𝖉𝖆𝖓𝖙. He does classical EDM and it's
Mm-hmm.
just magnificent. It's
Yeah.
just powerful and it's like just right. It just gets me vibing. But also a lot of Wu-Tang Clan. I constantly am listening to Wu-Tang Clan.
I was it's funny. I wrote a book called Your Kinky Friends, and there's a woman in it. It's a true story. A woman named Randy, and I always regret that I never put in that she would bump Wu Tang Clan all the time. She had a crush specifically on Method Man and Ghostface. Um, yeah, Wu Tang
Valid.
Clan forever. Let's
Yeah.
just say that.
Wu-Tang's for the kids. Wu-Tang's for the children.
Rest in
I
peace, Dirt
actually,
McGirt.
hell yeah. My partner, my fiance, hello, hello. I like to do impact to music. I like to flog to music, and I practice meticulously all the time. And my partner is my canvas a lot of the time for that. And I made him grab my phone and I told him, go on my rap playlist and pick whatever you want. Trip me up. I want a challenge. And he put on The Champ.
Oh yeah.
That was not a challenge at all whatsoever. It was actually a really good time.
Okay. All right. So this is a good question. Oh, we have Chris. Good evening.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Hello. Hello, Chris. Good evening to you too.
Right off from the beginning of this interview, I'm going off the rails, going off script. What are some good Wu Tang or Wu Tang affiliate songs to flog to? Shadowboxing,
So
Jizza? No man. That
I
could be
really
good.
like to do it to
Apollo
bring
Kids by Ghostface.
yeah, Bring the Ruckus is really fun,
Oh
but
yeah.
also that Chemical Brothers remix. I don't know if anybody from that one that I posted on Instagram to promote the
Yeah.
show. It's called Bring the Pain and it's mainly Method Man, but it's a really groovy song to kind of get into a jig to. There's also it's not a Wu-Tang song, but it's an ODB one. Shimmy Shimmy Ya.
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
baby, I like it
It
raw.
raw. Yeah. You just gotta
Baby, I like it raw.
can grab the microphone or maybe take it away, you know.
What did you think of the Wu-Tang miniseries?
Loved it.
Yeah,
I
I thought it
ate
was
it up.
very well done,
I s oh,
especially that one episode. Mario Van Peebles directed it, and I believe it's the whole song. The whole episode is just the big creation of, I think, the mystery of chess boxing.
yeah,
No, I'm
and
sorry,
that
or protect your neck, or was it?
yes.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
was one of those 2, but I'm glad that they made that series because
yeah.
I love NWA. I'm gonna s but the history that goes into the Wu-Tang Clan and, like, how much work it took to get all of those people to work together without murdering one another.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, because California gang violence was absolutely horrific, but, like,
Mhm.
I grew up in upstate New York, and it wasn't during that time, but, like, I still there was remnants, and, like, that shit's rough,
Yeah.
and seeing them work together to create the literal art that is the 38 Chambers album and all of their albums, but mainly that album, like, oh, and seeing all of the good that has come out of all of their
I
careers. RZA is a
under
genius.
under a different name. I started this doing music journalism. I started interviewing hip hop heads, like,
Yep.
and so right when that was coming out, um, and as an independent person, the easiest people to get to were the affiliates, people like, Prodigal Son, Capadonna.
Yeah.
Also, I interviewed
Oh
them.
god.
You know what I mean? Um,
Oh, I would melt if I met Capadonna. I've
and some,
also said, I will die happy the day that Redman calls my feet pretty because he's a foot fetishist.
I've met Redman. I'm from Jersey.
Ah, yeah,
Yeah,
God, I would
Newark, Brick
I
City.
know, but God, I would
I love
die.
Redman. Yeah,
I,
Redman.
I love that
Have
man.
you seen him lately? Have you seen him like on Instagram? He's killing it. He's just
Mhm.
taking other people's beats. He's jacking beats, and he's great. Let's get on with it. We're supposed to be talking about kink and
I
sex.
know. But
Wu
music
Tang
goes
forever.
into that. Wu-Tang
It
Forever.
does. So
I
well
also
throughout the
warned you.
yes, I know. Oh, I love this. I so love it.
Mhm.
So throughout the episode, any Wu Tang song that is good for spanking or good for flogging, spank, anything kinky, any Wu Tang song. This is you know, a Wu Tang episode. Let's get some comments. Nico Noir, the Magnificent. Nico Noir says, "Good evening, Commandant and Nick. Nice to see another Texan. Wu Tang ain't nothing to fuck with."
Hell
Seems
yeah,
right.
you're goddamn right. I'm so sad I missed them when they came to Dallas, but I went to see the original Misfit.
Damn.
And yes, it was so good. And Alice Cooper, which the Misfits is my favorite band. But Alice Cooper blew it out of the water. It was absolutely outstanding. But also, hello,
You're
Nico,
showing.
to you. I don't know if I actually gave you a fair nod. I'm actually opening my Spotify so I can prime my brain because again, I'm a goldfish. I have so many playlists. Once you talk
Nick.
music with me, it's over with.
Well, Nico is obsessed with Depeche Mode.
Oh
She loves
my
Depeche Mode.
god. So speaking of that,
So I want
I
to have a Depeche Mode show with both of you.
yes, I'm known for saying this in the DFW area. Dungeons need to use Depeche Mode more. There's not enough and goth clubs, which is weird, but like I declare that we need more Depeche Mode in dungeons. If I have to tolerate scening through Tears for Fears, we should get Depeche Mode.
Everybody wants to rule the world.
I had to do that, and
The
it was worth
saddest
it.
flogging. Was
It
it?
was.
It
It
was. It's good.
was.
You pulled it off. I can see you pulling it off. Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
it was weird. So I like to have a good time.
Yeah.
Although I'm a high protocol sadist, I still I talk throughout my scenes sometimes, and I was spanking I was scening with Bear. I was flogging their back. They were on a spanking bench. And it was 2 Tears for Fears back to back, and one of them was Everybody Wants to Rule the World, and, like, I by the time that song played, I, like, bent down to I always do check-ins anyway, and I just
I can
went
see it fitting.
I was like, "This is a lot of Tears for Fears, right?" And Bear
Uh,
went, "Yeah." I was really thinking that too. And I was like, okay, if it doesn't change, we might stop for a little while. And then right after that, Funky Town played, and I got immediately back into the groove, and it was a good
Oh,
night.
always good, yeah.
Yeah.
As long as it didn't play like the weird deep cuts of Tears for Fears, like sowing the seeds of love or something.
Suddenly the
um,
Cure starts playing. It's a completely different party.
so let's talk about music at a party. I am looking to make an album for Dungeons by us, for us, right?
Oh,
Yes. So when you walk, let's talk about your perfect dungeon, your perfect time. Let's fantasize for a second. What is playing on a great night, a night you like that you feel cool as it can be too? Like it's a beautiful night, that magical night. What's playing?
so I'm an event coordinator anyway. So what we do with our parties is we make them themed, and that really helps out set the vibe in general. But I think that it needs to be an eclectic mix of things so that way, because not everybody has the same music taste. So for like, I have my Spotify open for Kinkify, which is my event in DFW that I run with director Jez. We have 𝕮𝖒𝖆𝖓𝖙 on there. We have Pussifer. We have Susie and the Banshees. We've got MadCon. I've got Juno Reactor. We've got Depeche Mode because I am a woman of my word. We've got My Life with the Thrill Kill Cole, Queens of the Stone Age. I really try to keep it super duper eclectic, or as eclectic as I can. We've got Bad Things by Jace Everett because that's a really good sexy song, but that's country. Um
Sexy song is sexy song.
Yeah, sexy song is a sexy song. It really just depends on like the vibe that you want to set
Yeah.
for your party. But for us, we try to keep it like sexy but somewhat upbeat so that way people
Mm,
aren't falling asleep, but not
yeah.
too upbeat to where people can hear themselves.
You're not playing like Merzbow or or the
No,
or the Fall.
or like Slayer or some shit.
Slayer.
Yeah. Or
I see a bunch of
like
shirts.
Behemoth.
Yeah. Behemoth. Behemoth. Okay. We have work to do. Oh, Nico
Yes.
Noir. Nico Noir suggests that you should get together. ASAP.
Absolutely. I'm always down for making friends in the area. Please. Please. Arctic,
Yeah.
yes. Arctic
Arctic Monkeys.
Monkeys. That's a good one too. It's like bluesy. Oh, hello, Hollywood. That is a friend of mine. What is
Amir
my
Fett.
okay? I see a question. What is my favorite type of slave? Real quick, please don't call me goddess. My name is the commandant. That is a title, or you can call me mistress, but goddess is it. The humankind, honestly, I'm an eclectic type of dominant. I know that sounds like a bitchy response, but it's the truth.
That's a
Everybody
perfect
is
response.
bendable and moldable.
Yes. It's also a very analytical response.
Mm,
Chris asks, do you play Rammstein, if you in your dungeon or at your parties?
I do.
I think you already answered
Sure
that.
do. Yeah, I do. It's on the Kinkify playlist a lot. And in one of my promo videos, one of a Rammstein music videos playing in the background because it's when they're in the fat suits.
Okay, last time we spoke, we were gonna meet up at Exotica. You were at
Hmm.
Exotica. I was at Exotica before. It's funny how kink works, and we run in the same circles. We know the same people, and we're gonna talk about that. So everybody, stay tuned. But let's talk about kink Google. The kink rabbit hole goes deep, right? I love kink. Kink saved my life. It really did. We're talking about addiction recovery. Um,
Hmm.
it helped me view the world differently. You know what I mean? It helped. I felt kind of enlightened. It gave me confidence it taught me how to solve problems, and it connected with people. And then I started learning about things. And there's a kink for everything. So,
Literally everything.
what is the most interesting, unique thing that surprised you recently?
So when I saw that question, I was really fascinated by it. You called me analytical like literally 2 seconds ago, and I'm about to overanalyze this question. As far as a unique fetish, because everything can be a kink. Anything can be fetishized. I have a bottle of hair oil here. I could make this a fetish object if I really wanted to and really worked hard about it.
That's a
This
nice bottle of hair oil.
right? Like this
It's a
is
nice, yeah. What does it smell like?
coconut oil, and
I
cocoa
love
butter.
coconut.
Me too, honestly. But you see what I mean?
Yeah.
You can make that a fetish object. And the most interesting rabbit hole that I find myself down recently, and it's been like a couple months of this rabbit hole, is I like to study the sex lives of theoretical physicists because these people with super duper high intelligence somehow have the most prolific sex lives and also weirdest relationship with like emotional intimacy and emotional intelligence, and I just find it neat.
All right. What would you do with Neil deGrasse Tyson if
Oh
he
my
was your sub?
god. Oh, if he was my sub, I don't know, it depends on what he'd be into, but we would talk.
He
I
goes,
would
he goes, Commandant, I know everything about the stars. I know nothing about kink. Teach me something. What's the first thing you do?
I would ask to look at his porn history.
Yeah. True
Yep.
love is not having to clear your browser history. Like I
Yeah.
said, let's
Yeah.
a couple questions. Collected reader says, "Hi, mistress. Would you prefer ball kicking or ball stomping? Which would make more fun for you?" He cares.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I also like the name that is like collected reader. That's a collected mind. Personally kicking because it's a good way to let off steam, but also you have it's more anticipation and you can mind fuck more with that scenario. So yeah, ball kicking, but I like stomping too. One of my first things I did was CBT or well BT, but
CBT.
yeah,
Nico Noir has a very important question. I had to pause to make sure I found it.
you're good.
Since Eros did away with their BDSM option, where do you advertise now?
Trist. I actually I didn't hop on the Eros train, and by the time that I looked into Eros terms of services on multiple websites were really fishy to me, and Eros just didn't scream out to me, but Trist did. So it's Tryst, TRYST.link. I'm not an affiliate with them, but I do, and they have a BDSM provider option. So
Do you want to be domed by two physicists?
no, I don't switch.
Oh, you only want a dom physicist. Oh,
Mhm.
always, even in a daydream. Okay.
Yeah, well, not even like so. I don't with my connections with people. I don't have to necessarily be like the dominant. I'm a
Hmm.
dominant person in conversation anyways. I am naturally always in a dominant headspace. It's just my personality, if that makes any
Yeah.
sense.
Oh yeah.
But I I I'm I don't always have to dominate. I'm respectful.
Stan Vladimir asks if you are familiar with Akira Yamaoka's work.
That might be that name looks really familiar. Can you give me more hints on who they
I
might
have
be? I have a terrible memory and don't remember anyone's names ever.
neither do I. I'm horrible at it, and I
Can you
just
show me
go
their
back
work?
out. I owe. I was talking about this today. I owe it to my friend Ari, my friend Arietta, who's just like, I don't remember names. I don't remember dates. Don't remember names at all. So that's how I introduced, like, from the get go. I don't remember names. Don't remember dates. So please forgive
The
me now.
yeah,
Like right off the gate.
the worst thing about this job is
Hard.
when I do conventions or I'm at the dungeon or
So
I'm at
many
a
people,
party and they're like, "Oh my god, we've met before." And I'm like, "I totally trust that.
and I
Remind me
want
of
to.
who you are."
I'm so happy that they want to talk.
That's
All right,
so great.
PD. PD asks, "Do you have any personal slaves, mistress? If you do, what other tasks and rituals they have to perform?
I do. I do. I'm a lifestyle dominatrix on top of a professional dominatrix. So I have two that are just straight up my submissives that are owned by me fully. I have Bear and I have my himbo. My himbo is overseas and a online dynamic. Himbo's tasks. We have Sunday worship where he gets on his knees every Sunday, sends me pictures with face down on the floor, and he sends me a personalized worship like poem because he's a really creative, really creative person, and he loves to write. Whereas I have, and that's only one of Himbo's rituals. We have many more. We also have Form Friday because he works out, and I like to objectify him because he's very nice to look at. But with my bear is my personal submissive who lives local and is at my home once, twice, thrice, however many times a damn week. They have a whole cot here for them to sleep next to me when they're over. Not quite on the bed, but like near it, so that way they can rub my feet before we go to bed, because that's a nightly ritual for my bear. Bear, every time that we're together, they are to put on my shoes before we leave somewhere and kiss them, and they are to take off my shoes and kiss my feet every time that we get home from somewhere. They are to serve me my drinks, serve me my food when we are together and engaged in that sort of like appropriate time for that protocol. Bear has a bedtime, a wake up time. I control Bear's DoorDash account. There's a lot. I have sheets that I make that have tailored rules and things. I'm very anal and meticulous.
Yeah. So how on earth do you organize all this? How do you keep track of everything?
I write it down. I also use Asana. If you've ever heard of that app, everybody has a
No.
file on Asana.
Oh, okay. Back to Kinky Google.
Mhm.
Back to Kinky Google. Um, what's an interesting question? As fun as it is being Kinky Google, is there a burden to being Kinky Google? And please
Mhm.
tell us about it.
So my fiance actually told me this, and it always causes me to introspect, but he said to me, he's like, you care so much about people, and that is your biggest strength, but it's also your biggest weakness. It can kill you. And I think that that's the same burden that I have kind of with being Kinky Google. Is the only reason that I know these things is because I have been burdened with doing kink and finding emotional fulfillment
Yeah.
and things through kink for a very long time. Too
I
long.
never want someone to feel that lost and
Yeah.
disconnected.
Exactly. And that's the
You know what I
only
mean?
reason why I help. I
Yeah.
am a traumatized individual, and that is why I help other traumatized individuals.
It's a beautiful way
And
to look at it.
it is. But I don't want everybody or anybody. I don't know everything. I am still learning. That is the
Yeah.
best part about being an educator is I am still learning. I will
To the
always
day we
be
die.
Yep, I will always be on a path of learning. I try not to gatekeep knowledge. I try very hard to be inclusive and accepting within my own boundaries, but I am also a human being, and I'm a mentally ill human being, and that does show sometimes. So the
Does
burden of being Kinky Google is sometimes people think that I can't be wrong when I have been wrong many times.
and I think like me, I find great peace in the connection with other kinky people.
Me
You know,
too.
so and that tends to like the reason I do it. That becomes the fetish. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Which is a good thing. It's a positive thing. Like I said, I want to use my kink for good. I want to use my fetishes for good. You know what I mean? So um, this kinky Google basically. So that means you think about sex a lot. You're bombarded by sex. Your profession is sex. Like I can't go on any social media without it just being there.
Yeah.
It's everywhere. So does it seep in? How do you keep it? I mean, we all have vanilla life. We all have to go to the store, deal with vanilla people in our family or friends, even. Does it ever seep into your life? Do you ever got to stop it? Do you have to stop yourself from like, oh, I can't talk about a double-ended dildo?
So in a weird way, this is just my personality and who I am, but like also there's a time and place for everything. Of course, I can be a human at family functions. My family knows what I do. So my family has always utilized Kinky Google. Like I grew up with
Mm.
nieces that were actually in my age range. This is where this is where Kinky Google was really born.
Please tell us.
I was the one where they would go to and ask all of the weird questions of like, "Hey, why do I like it when my boyfriend chokes me?" Or like, "Why do I like being spanked? Is it weird?" And then I would be the one to be like, "Well, how are you doing it? Like, just be safe with it. Do you have ice packs and stuff like that?" And I was very young talking about this stuff because I had the power of the internet and I was exposed at a young age. And I also had a crush on a dude who was too old for me. And back then I did submit. I started off as a submissive and then I pipelined to switch. And then the switch just stayed up and now is stuck there. So
Was there a light bulb moment where you're like, I'm a dominant. I'm a
absolutely.
commandant. What was that
Mhm.
light bulb moment?
So I had been the commandant as a switch prior to the light bulb moment. I didn't have the wait, we're in 2024. I didn't have the light bulb moment until 2 years ago, and it was
Yes,
because
2024.
yeah, look,
I
man,
can't believe
time
we made it
dilation.
far.
Oh my god. Time dilation is a bitch. But my fiance made me realize it. Um it was we were talking after a spicy rendezvous, as we do. We're a very communicative couple. And he told me, he was like, "I'm really proud of you for, doing what you want to do with me in the bedroom instead of placating, my feelings and doing what you think is expected of you. You've really blossomed into yourself. And I'm glad that I could help you with that." And I was like, "Wait a minute, what the hell do you mean?" And he was like, "Well, you don't switch anymore. You've just been doming more in the bedroom, and I love it. I'm really happy to see you embracing this part of yourself because I can see that you're blossoming and shining." And then I had to introspect on that because he basically mind fucked me with that because I didn't even realize it because I was just so comfortable with him. But I had
Yeah.
been doing professional dominance for like, yeah, for years before
What
that.
wa- what was your very first session like?
A mess. It was
I'm
a
sure.
mess.
Yeah, yeah. Take
I
us
was
through it.
so I didn't have professional training. I was very antisocial and I really stuck to myself and I didn't really have a super duper big support group. So before I started calling myself a professional, I was doing paid for sessions when I was 18, 19, just privately. So that's not pro doming, but like that's what a lot of assumptions go based on pro doming. I wasn't a professional by any means, but I knew the basics of spanking and SSC and stuff, but I still wasn't really doing it correctly. But that's neither here nor there. It's funny somebody asked me about ball busting. So it was a ball busting session. It was
Right out the gate,
in
first time.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
first time. And it's because I have drummer legs. That was another reason why I got sidetracked with music because drummer.
Shout out to John Worster from Superchunk and the
Uh,
Mountain Goats. Funniest
um,
drummer. Best
I
show.
he complimented my legs and asked if because I'm goth. He was like, what kind of stuff are you into? And I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, are you into? And I was like, here's my number. Why don't you text me later and ask me what you really want to ask me while I'm not at work? Because I was a waitress. And
Hmm.
he did, and he was asking, he's like, "I'll pay you. I'll give you $300. Just meet me here and kick me in the nuts for like an hour."
Meet me here and kick me in the nuts.
And I was like, fuck it. So me and my
Yeah.
cousin, we went and I did it. And it was kind of awkward. My adrenaline was pumping the entire time, but I got my cash and left. I had already ID'd him. He was at a bar.
We have some
So he was
comments.
over 18.
Chris Baker says, never stop learning as science changes every second. We all learn in all
Absolutely.
lifetimes.
Absolutely. And I am a
Okay.
child of science.
Before I forget, we're going to do this. I got so many questions. I have so many questions, but the people want to know the Stan. If you had any superpower, what would it be, and how would you use it in your kinky life?
Huh. It's like you're a little mind reader, Stan. Anyway, telekinesis. Because
What would you do
hands
with
for
that?
hands-free flogging, dude. Imagine the speed.
Yeah. Ooh,
Speed.
that's
Pure fucking speed. You don't got like arthritic ass wrist. Like I don't know if anybody heard that, but my wrist popped literally when I did that. Like I could just sit back, enjoy a blunt, and just fucking it could just twirl. It would be great. It would be great.
that reminds me of Mistress Shari from Mischief Manor. The first quote when I first interviewed her quote is, "I swear I have carpal tunnel from spanking people." You know, so yeah,
my
it would help. Telekinesis. Work
my
on that, Apple.
fingers, my hands. Yeah, shit.
All right, let's get to the questions. All right, educator. First of all, what is your most popular class? What is the thing that people ask
Feminization.
you to teach?
Feminization.
Okay. Feminization. Why do you think that is?
Honestly, I could not tell you. I thought it for when I first started, it was FinDom. It was my FinDom
Okay.
lesson. And then it very steadily went into my feminization lesson. I can only imagine it's because there's always been a really huge draw to that fetish in general. And
Yeah.
also, not a lot of people really do like to deep dive into it. They just kind of like to keep it on the surface level of it's a maid in a really tacky party city costume and wig, you know?
Well,
They keep it to the porn.
I don't want to give you too much information, but I'm locked in chastity right now, wearing garter belts
Love
and
that.
stockings.
I love that.
Um,
High
under my
fashion.
Oh yes, I try to. I want to be at least a sophisticated, you know,
Yeah.
cross-dressing witch. You know.
Yeah.
Okay, we have some questions. It's great hearing the backstory to the commandant because she's the only person I've probably opened up to about kink properly, and the only dom I properly trust. You
I
are
appreciate that.
much loved. You are very much loved. Um, Chris, I didn't have friends growing up either. My parents thought there was something wrong with me, says Chris. I forgave them, and now they're on the other side. A true sub you are, Nicholas.
That's a good
Three
thing
times
though.
property. Oops, how British of me. Okay. So educator, the class, what is to you? What's your favorite class, your personal favorite? Like, think of it as like, one that you're most proud of. Not the one that everybody wants, but the one that like you that's close to your
Okay.
heart.
Okay, so
Closest.
feminization is really close to my heart because it was like as a dom, even though I did start doing it online, as a dom, feminization is the first fetish that I really did deep dive into as a dominant. And it was the fetish that brought me and my very first submissive really close together, and we bonded really deeply over it, and it allowed them to have a safe space to feel how they truly are within themselves. And I'm really proud of myself for being able to harness that. And now I'm at a place where I can teach others how to harness that safety for other people. But to not keep the answer the same as feminization, I also really love my Your Brain on BDSM lesson because it
Oh,
does open the discussion floor for trauma
tell us
in
about that.
your brain on BDSM. It goes over all of the chemicals that go through your brain when we are engaging in these types of fetishes, kinks, and dynamics. but it also has a little subsection on trauma in BDSM, because something that's not talked about nearly enough in this is, and you even said it, you didn't say it verbatim, but you said kink saved my life. And trauma therapy within BDSM is a thing. People do it all the time, even if they don't realize that they're doing it. And I covered that in that lesson. And one of the first times that I presented that lesson for Pragmatically Kinking, hosted by Devin Stone, shout out to them, love them. He's a great guy. There was a psychologist in the audience, and they actually complimented it, and it made me cry in a good way. But I was like,
Oh, of course.
That's some good recognition right there. That's some good soup. So yeah, that's why I love that lesson.
Now, one thing, shout out to Mr. Shari and Catnip at Mischief Manor. They teach classes there. One of a very popular class, almost mandatory classes, Don't Be a Dick. It's basic 101 class. But there's knife classes, there's rope classes. There we have Sissy Charm School. Shout out to Cherry Bomb.
I want to do that.
Yes, always great.
I want to do one where it's feminization high T classes. So you teach like high T, high protocol, as well as it, and all of the maids are, femmes.
Nice. That's what the next question was. What do you want to do? And not only that, but what do you think the BDSM culture needs? What kind of class?
Personal accountability.
Okay.
Personal accountability. I kind of scream about that one the most on social media, but personal accountability on the dom side and the sub side. I think that another one, and I'm working on an article for this. It's just, I've been going through a hell of a writer's block lately. Ongoing care in BDSM. My friend, Mr. James W., shout out to him. I love him to death, and I will always love him. He mentioned this in one of the Fetish Friday episodes that we had. He was like, aftercare is great, but we need to talk about ongoing care in these relationships and these dynamics. And I think that is something that does need to be discussed, is the ongoing care and watering that these relationships and these dynamics require, no matter how compartmentalized they are.
What are some fun ways? Because it's one thing to stand and just talk about sex and talk about kinks. Maybe show a dildo or two, or a sex toy. But what are some fun ways you could educate people about kink?
So I did this for 𝕮𝖒𝖆𝖓𝖙 at the DC show with the help of Kitty Puddles and Kylie Corrupt. Shout out to them. We love them here. We brought a new brand. I called it edutainment, where sure, I had two scantily clad women deep throating my strap on a stage. Is
that a shout out to KRS-One and Boogie Down Productions?
No. It's Kitty Puddles and Kylie Corrupt. They're both performing.
No, but you know what I'm talking about? Oh. You're a fan of hip-hop.
Yeah. No. If I'm doing a hip-hop shout out, I would make a Mike Jones joke. Being real. That's very typical of me. Who? Mike Jones? Anyway. But no, we also did an oral cunnilingus class on like how to make a woman squirt. But what we did is Kylie laid in front of me with her legs open. Of course, she was in a really cute, adorable light blue bikini. And we had a cantaloupe, and Kitty showed how to stimulate a person with a bagoogle and how to make them squirt via the cantaloupe. Everybody was very engaged. It was a very entertaining time.
I would have loved to have seen that.
See? Yeah, it was a very stimulating performance. It was, of course, yeah, there were scantily clad women, and like what we were doing was kind of visually absurd, but like it's a fruit. You're learning. And people have actually said they tried those techniques on their loved ones, and it's actually kind of worked. So like, bam.
I'm going to the store and getting a melon. Wait, I don't have to.
Yeah.
No, but I'm not. But I am, but I'm not. Anyway, film, TV, it can be used to educate. A lot of people ask me, what films, what's our go-to things. I like to introduce people to films and movies about kink. So in your opinion, what are some films, TV shows, or things that you can get behind as, a good representation of the BDSM kink community, or just kink in general?
So I haven't seen, I'm not gonna lie to you, I haven't seen a whole hell of a lot of positive, like representative kink media. But give me just a second. I'm texting my fiance because my dog is crying, so she might need to go out. Anyway, what I do like to do though is I have heard about a lot of the bad ones. And I
Okay.
use media like Star
What are
Trek
some
for
of the bad
reference.
ones?
Oh, I rip on 50 Shades of Grey. I use 50 Shades of Grey as a how not to guide
Yeah.
all the
Did you actually
goddamn.
read it? Have you read it?
Yes, yes, and I'm
You
actively
survived?
reviewing it. Yeah, I know it's unfortunate. I'm reviewing it every year. I'm on to the third movie. My brain is done,
So
honestly.
when I wrote a book after Lynn died, I wrote a book in tribute to her called "The Coolest Way to Kill Yourself." And
I've been seeing that and I've wanted it.
I'll get you a copy.
Yeah,
And
I want it. I'm a big reader. Now, books, I do recommend books for kink exposure, like kink things all
education.
the time. Yeah.
Oh, we'll
I'm a
talk about
big
that.
reader. Yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
didn't mean to interrupt, but continue.
No, I mean that's what. So yeah, it's basically writing those. Forget it. What books do you recommend?
One of the first book series that exposed me to kink and like alternative sex, the Beauty series by Anne Rice, fucked me up as a kid. That
Oh
shit
yeah.
fucked me up. It was so good.
Stan Vladimir says, I remember
Uh,
asking this question in your
and
keynote
yeah,
moment, and you mentioned
Hellraiser. Yeah,
the
Hellraiser.
original one.
But yes, and actually the Hulu remake is really good too. So I don't
They don't
use
have the bondage
Hellraiser.
gear.
I know. I don't use Hellraiser as like a watch this movie to see an accurate representation of kink, though. Just to
Mhm.
clarify, Stan,
Oh,
I
that, yeah,
see Hellraiser as like a horny movie for me and like a
yeah,
movie that
definitely,
makes me think of BDSM. Hellraiser, 1 million, like it's one of my favorite movies.
definitely. Clive Barker used to,
Mm.
yeah. Let's just say he was involved with sex work in some ways. Let's
Oh
get
yeah.
into Texas. So you're in
Oh,
Texas. But you travel all around, but you're in Texas. You're in Dallas.
yep.
How would you describe, since you have traveled all around and you are in Texas, you have a different outlook of someone who's just in Texas, right? How would you describe the Texas kink scene in Dallas?
Huge, gigantinormous,
Really?
fucking massive, but also fascinating, very fascinating because because it's so huge, there are a lot of groups, but it's all about finding the group that is right for you, but also I agree, Kat. Hello, Kat, by the way. Anne Rice has changed lives. She's iconic. I love her work. But I have a love-hate for it sometimes just because like even though it's so huge, it can be so so small. And I there are things that just need to change in my opinion, just like things about Texas that need to change. Like my goal with the Texas kink scene really, I want to open my own dungeon so that way we have a woman-led queer inclusive or in space. And that's not to say that the dungeons of DFW aren't like queer inclusive or welcoming of women. I just think that it's about damn time that we get another one. I just want to add to the mix.
All right, Dallas, and the internet and fans of your kinky friends. Let's make this happen.
Mm.
The commandant has commands. Let's
Hmm.
let's get the army going.
Yeah, I want a queer dungeon, damn it. I want it gay.
Okay, so Texas kink scene. We our mutual friend. I'm not going to say his name, but a mutual friend of ours had to basically leave the scene for personal
Yeah.
reasons.
Mm.
I really know nothing behind it, but I see it happen. It happens all the time. Anybody I interview, every once in a while, it's very rare, but every once in a while, like something personal happens, like, hey, can you take it off? And of course, like, sure, no problem. Like, we'll get out of that. Which I want that to be known. Everybody, I only want to, like, right now, you are consenting to this interview.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So I want to
Man,
talk about
I
how
love
people,
him too.
I know, right? How people drop off. First of all, um, some people live out loud, and then they can't live out loud anymore. Have you dealt with that? And have you dealt with
Mm,
people coming back?
not personally myself. I've always had I feel very blessed that I'm
Hmm.
able to be as loud as I am and proud as I am. But for others where maybe they work for a company where like that's not okay, or they're fighting a custody battle and they've got to protect their image or whatever, it's for their safety. This community, we preach about safety all the time. So like it should it should be okay if somebody needs to step out. And if they find themselves wanting to come back in, then they want to come back in. I say we need to welcome them with open arms, but also them kinking privately is just as valid as them kinking publicly.
Right on. I'm gonna write that. Them. See, I gotta pause the show to write that.
Yeah, you're good. You're
Them.
good. I do shit like that all the time.
Them kicking privately is just as valid as them kicking publicly. All right, let's continue the show. Let's continue. All right, what advice would you give to someone who has to get out of the lifestyle? Maybe false accusations, maybe money issues, maybe they started a job and they can't. They have to like scrub the internet or something like that. They, they come to you, they're shocked. They're friends. They don't know what to do. What do you tell
Do what's best for you. Do what's best for your mental health, for your safety, and for your own sanity. It doesn't matter what other people's perceptions of this situation are going to be. You know what's best for you in that case. And if you have to step out, then you have to step out. And like I said before, as you wrote it down, you kinking privately is just as valid as you kinking publicly. You do not have to brag about it. You don't have to take photos. When I started doing like session work and stuff, I was camera shy. I didn't start filming clips until 2020 and taking it to the internet until 2020. The commandant was a private figure until 2020 because I just did not want to be public with it. I was so private. I'm an introvert.
Mm. Chris is causing trouble. Is there anything in the scene that really boils your blood and makes you angry?
He's doing this on purpose because he wants to get me emotionally activated. There is. There is. Trying to figure out how to word this diplomatically. And
We could change it.
yeah,
And to
there's a
say,
lot
who
in this
knows?
scene. Injustice. We'll say
Well,
that.
who
And
knows? It may
misinformation.
it may sneak out within the interview. Just
Oh, it
context
will.
clues.
Yeah,
Yeah.
context
All
clues.
right.
Misinformation.
Let's talk about your name. All right.
Oh,
This what statement are you making with the meaning behind your name? And how did you come up
well,
with the name? What is the origin of your name? The
well,
commandant.
to answer your first question, what is a commandant?
Like when I think of commandant, I think of honestly, I think of like a Nazi concentration camp.
Ah, well, damn it. No, that's not the intention that I want. But a
I know.
commander, a commandant is a commander. Well, God, fucking bonk yourself back over. Damn it,
No,
Nick.
no, but I also
I
think of
can't have nice
no,
things.
I also think of Japanese concentration, like
Yeah,
prisoner of war camps as well. But
yeah.
no,
Well, a
yeah,
commander. That
a
is the
command, yeah,
statement.
definitely a commander, definitely.
I command what I want. But the commandant actually is from the name came from a video game because I'm a
Yes, okay.
nerd, as we
No,
can see by the background.
no,
But like,
it's a very powerful name, and it also stands out as
that's what I
because
wanted
there's no
as well.
if you think about it, anyone who knows me knows my story. The coolest way to kill yourself. I killed myself. I did. Tanek. is Polish for immortal. It's not my real name.
Yeah.
We all live double lives here, and that's the
Mm.
beauty of it. Okay, we did the first session. Let's talk about sissification, because this is sissification is something that I is a fetish that I hold close to my heart. I told you what I'm wearing, you
Yeah.
know, underneath. So throughout the years, being exposed to it, being a dominatrix, um, seeing all sides of it, I would think throughout the years, especially in your travels.
Mm.
How has your idea and your outlook towards sissification, the sissification narrative, femdom sissification narrative, how has it evolved throughout the years?
Immensely. I've learned a lot within that fetish itself. I've learned that there's different kinds of sissification and feminization. I call it feminization to be more friendly to those who do not like the word sissy. Um, I I think the biggest lesson that I've learned and that I really try to hammer home is that no matter how you do feminize whoever you are feminizing, you can do it in your own unique way. It doesn't have to be humiliating. It doesn't have to be degrading. It doesn't have to be a berating, horrible experience for that femsub or that type of submissive. It can be an empowering experience. You can show them women empowerment through that fetish, and you can also show them deeper sides of themselves that they were too afraid to admit to anybody else. It's an avenue of exploration for them, and it's
So
valid.
when you personally, because every it almost seems like there's two ends of the spectrum when it comes that I noticed. Um, there's like the loving aspect of it, where it's more of control, and it can be sadistic. It's very much more on the loving side. Whereas there's the other end where it's very
Mhm.
sadistic and very humiliating and very sadistic. And the more dark and twisted and sadistic, humiliating it gets, you know, the hotter it becomes for them, the people involved. Which side do you lean on?
So BDSM and fetish is very fluid, and I like to do both. It depends
Nice.
on it depends on
Yeah.
the person, and I know that that sounds so stereotypical answer, but like I have somebody who's under consideration right now who wants to be bottom of the barrel come whore. They
Okay.
wanna be the lowest of the low, they just really want to be used in that way, they wanna be feminized and used as a lower than the low cum receptacle, and then I
Wait,
have another one
can we
who
get a lower cum receptacle? Like, so then they can compete on who could be the lowest cum receptacle?
exactly,
Like,
yeah, no, that's
so
hell yeah,
anyone out
hell
there,
yeah. Let's
come this is
contest for the
competition.
lowest cum yeah,
Cum
cum
receptacle.
receptacle
Say that
competition,
3 times fast.
CRC, wait, cum receptacle competition for the commandant. Make it even more fucking hard. All the syllables, all the consonants. Anyway, and then I have another one who I praise for their femininity and
Okay.
I uplift them for it because it runs very deep for them. And it's
Mhm.
more impactful for them to be praised for it rather than to be degraded for it. It wouldn't serve them in a positive way if it was done, you know what I'm saying? Like in the other
Yeah.
way.
I like to I could be everyone's different. I like to
Mhm.
put the romance into it. That's what
Yeah,
I like.
same.
I like to put the romance, like the whole chastity thing, and the control of it. That you can't control yourself. I have to control you, And and I am lucky enough that I'm healthy enough, and that I'm like I do all right. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I'm all, like so so. uh, Let's put it this way. I love the fuck. I love it. It's great, and I like to think I'm good at it. So, that's the beauty of it. The release, the eventual release, the build up, the tease and tease until basically I'm a withering mess who does nothing but worship.
Yeah, and it makes you feel like it's earned. It's
Yes,
well earned. And then you
Yes.
get more dopamine from it rather
Yes.
than postcoital dysphoria, which is also
Exactly.
known as the sadness that comes after ejaculating.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for enlightening. We have so many questions. Katrina Pierce, I learned so much from your workshop at 𝕮𝖒𝖆𝖓𝖚. Opened my mind to areas of the fetish I haven't played with, says Katarina Pierce.
Thank you so much, Kat. I was so happy to see you.
Sunshine says, Nicholas, you may want to say you symbolically kill yourself. True,
Well,
true.
I mean, he's still here. It's fine.
Name kinky characters in video games that inspire you for new kinky ideas.
Jury from Street Fighter. Jury. Jury.
PD, I knew this was coming. Do you like water sports / scat? Mistress, if you do, what are the most unique and interesting things you have done involving them?
So I'm not a fan of scat. Just not a fan of it. I don't shame it. Just not my bag. Piss, on the other hand, or water sports. Sorry, we're on YouTube. My bad. Let me not get you canceled. Water sports. I am a big fan. I absolutely love it. Because it's filthy and it's just a gross and golden good time. Most unique and interesting things that I've done with pee. So I organized, yeah, we need an organized like water sports league, and we can like measure like the longest stream or something, or like see who can hit a sub in the mouth from like the furthest distance.
For some reason, I thought of synchronized swimming.
Hell yeah, we could do that. We're gonna need a lot of piss, but we could do that. We could. But most creative thing that I've done with piss, I actually have recently, I only have 2 partners that are into it, so I haven't been able to get super duper creative at the current time, but we're working on it. So give it time. Yeah, use Nerf guns.
Here's a cool idea. Use Nerf guns for your water sports. Wow, Stan's dirty. Nah. Love Stan. Stan's the man. Stan's awesome. All right, let's get to the questions. So we did the feminist question about sissification. Role play. This is a question, first of all. Role play is fun. I love role play. You could be someone else, right? So when you think of role play in your life, what's the first role that comes to mind? Like, that's not you.
That's not me. So I started out on the internet like as a role play nerd. I'm a big writer. I've always been a writer. So like if anybody, shout out to this chat platform, 𝕮𝖒𝖆𝖓𝖆𝖏𝑢. I started out on 𝕮𝖒𝖆𝑢 role playing, like text role playing. I also text role played on Tumblr. So I automatically think of those characters that I played when you I also think of Dungeons and Dragons because I'm a nerd. And then I also think of LARPing because again, I'm a nerd, but in kink relation, I really like to do succubus roleplay. I like the idea of corrupting somebody and then just sucking the pleasure out of them until they have nothing more to give.
In the porn narrative, in the findom narrative, especially, and there's also the sissification narrative in porn is, the woman takes a man and locks his cock, chastity, puts women's clothing on and pimps him out, basically, and turns him into a woman, and hormones and stuff like that. Yeah, the whole influence thing. So, but I mean, there's so many kinds when it comes to role play. There's creative ways. There's the classic stuff like secretary, boss, secretary. Daddy.
I have a video. I have a video I really like doing. It's a corrupt counselor.
Okay, please tell us more about that.
Yeah. I don't remember the entire video because I have a terrible memory, and but I do remember the base premise of it was oh my god, I want to make a car even. Yes, but yes. I want to, Katarina says, I want to make the 𝕮𝖒𝖆𝖓𝖆 game where you put pee in the clown's mouth to pop a balloon, but with subs. That
okay, we have some more questions.
Genius. Yeah, more questions.
We have some more questions. Double doming. What makes a good
Big
double
fan.
dom? How do you find someone to double dom with? Like, because you can't just double dom with everybody. It takes a certain kind of person to click with. What kind of
Well,
person clicks with you?
because I know that they're in the audience, I can shout them out. Or two people I know that are in the audience that I would double dom
Please
with in a
do.
heartbeat. Sunshine, if it is Goddess Sunshine, which I'm assuming it might be Goddess Sunshine, I would double dom with because we're friends and we cooperate well together. Words are hard, okay? Um, and then also Katarina Pierce. We actually we were trying to do it in Jersey, but my schedule got way too fucking full. Um, Katarina Pierce is somebody that I would double dom with, but something that you always want to remember with working together is you want to have like mutual goals, but also you want to be able to cooperate well together. And it's not a pissing contest. I am no better than Katarina as a dominant. In fact, I'm probably going to learn a fuck ton from her because she is a giant Amazonian goddess and has different skill sets than I do. It's all about support. It's not about who's better than who. It's about what we can do to combine our skill sets and provide the best experience for somebody.
Come on the show. You could double team the show. That'd be
Yeah.
great.
If you want a good guest, I fucking love Katarina. I want to get her on my show. I'm
Oh,
so
she's
gay for her.
blushing.
I'm so
All
gay
right.
for her. I love her.
Why?
Because it's fun. Oh, right.
It's a good answer.
I mean,
But
and
still,
because it's fun. So like the base definition of do you know the origin of sadism? Where it comes from?
the Marquis de Sade.
Yes. Okay, cool. So you know
Yes.
your history.
I
Good
am
noodle.
obsessed with Salo. I'm obsessed with Piero Pasolini's movies, Salo,
Mm.
120 Days of Sodom.
Yeah,
I read 120 Days of Sodom when I was a kid.
yeah, oh, same.
That and
Same
Justine.
with
Yeah.
Venus
So,
and Furs.
Venus and
Again,
Furs, A Story of
but
O, all that stuff.
that's
Yeah.
mass talk. But anyway, so you know your history. That's a good noodle. That's another thing I can rabbit hole about, by the way.
I'm a graduate. I'm a lit.
You're a
Yeah.
lit major? Is that what you're about to tell me,
I,
Anastasia
I got
Steele?
it. Oh, those books.
Oh, they're so bad. Anyway,
All right. Wait, what I wanted to say
sadism.
is, let me tell you about
State.
those books, though. After
Oh,
sadism. After
yeah,
sadism.
sadism.
All right.
Sadism.
Sadism.
So like everyone thinks that like sadists can't have morals, and there's a saying that I've always been coined for saying, which is, "I am a sadist. I am not an asshole.
Mm.
I will sadistically torment somebody all day, day in, day out, but not before they give me consent, and not about things that I don't have consent for torturing them about or with. Like if somebody has a limit for knives, I'm not going to go then chain them up in a basement and cut them open. That's not being a sadist. That's being an asshole.
Yes. Well said. And Katarina says, been on the show 2 times. Yes, I know. That's something come back. Where people
Yeah.
come back all the time. And when they come back, things get loose. We have fun games. Yeah, Nico's on. Shout out to Nico Noir. We come back. We're gonna have we got plans. Oh, anyway, PD. It's about fucking time. He says. Katarina's still blushing. Okay. Sadism, pegging.
And he holds the goal. What's up?
This is Kate West's question. Why are men so obsessed with their own assholes?
Because there's a fun button in there. And when you press the button just right, it makes your cum feel real good. That's the base answer. Honestly, that's why you're so fascinated with it. Because when you put shit in there, it feels good. And you want to know why it feels good. Because you got a fun button in there.
So we talked about your first session ever was ball busting. What about your first pegging? And what have you learned since then about pegging?
Lube is your best friend. That's what I've learned since then. Lube. And not all the lube is the same type of lube. And you need to do skin reaction tests with your lube if it's a new partner. That is what I've learned since then. But also, my first pegging was awkward because I know that you don't know this. And people who've met me in person will know this. I am 5 foot even.
Wow. Okay.
5 foot even. And I am. Have you ever seen The Birdcage?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Nathan
so
Lane.
you know,
It's
yeah,
based on 𝕮𝖒𝖆𝖏𝖓𝖓.
you know Hank Azaria's character. It's the
Oh yeah.
jokes. That's
Oh
me.
yeah.
I don't scene in shoes.
Oh, okay.
I don't scene in shoes. I become an awkward duck. I just can't fucking do it. And I make them take my shoes off for me. It's a whole worship deal. It works.
Oh yeah.
But
I can see totally, yeah, using that totally.
but when you get clients who
Well
are, I
played.
don't know, 6'3" who want you balls deep in their asshole, you have to get creative. So my first couple of pegging clients, if they were on the taller side, which they always were because tall guys have a fascination with us little women, um, it was leg day.
Okay.
Yeah, it was leg day. It was a hell of a workout. I realized I developed an appreciation so deeply to all of my penis providers in those moments for how much hard work that is.
Yeah. Yeah. Let that, I think I was talking to Anna Valentina, the Bussy
Mhm.
boss, and I believe her quote is, I think every woman should peg a man and
Absolutely,
every
I agree.
man should be pegged because, to know,
It's
to
great.
just to know. I mean, just as a pure knowledge thing, science.
Oh, first couple
Let's
times
do
it was
it.
like it was so painful because again, I'm little and like legs, it was leg day like a motherfucker, but I love it. I have a t-shirt, my friend got it for me. It's called it says Bussy Destroyer on it.
Okay.
Like oh yeah, I'm also known as the Bussy Destroyer, but that's mainly in my friend circles. Like funny group chats, I put myself as the Bussy Destroyer. But yeah, no, I'm somebody, any hole's the goal. Let me put my dick in it. I fucking love my strap. I love it so much. Big fan.
Any holes the goal.
Any hole's the
I
goal.
wrote it
Anytime
down.
somebody asks
We
me like
got
what's
good
your
quotes.
sexuality, I'm like, any hole's the goal, baby. Let's go.
Oh, that's a quote. That's going in there.
Yeah.
Speaking of people trying to stick their things in the holes, sometimes they can't if they're locked in chastity. So let's talk about chastity. First of all,
Ooh.
do you have anybody locked up right now?
In a physical device, I do not. But
Okay.
I see chastity devices as torture devices mainly. I don't mind them. I love them.
Hmm.
But I like mental chastity because to
Hmm.
me, mental chastity shows a deeper devotion and it's harder.
Oh yeah,
It's way more
definitely.
difficult. And
Plastic.
I have two that are locked in mental chastity.
When's the last time they were allowed to have an orgasm?
Bear a couple weeks ago, if I'm maybe a month. I don't know if she's or they're sorry, I control their pronouns. If Bear's watching, then they'll probably text me and tell me the last time. But maybe a month. And then Himbo is 10, 11, 10 or 11. Yeah.
So what's the difference? Like, what would you say, just to refresh our memory? What's the dynamic difference between Bear and Himbo?
Online is Himbo, and then Bear is like my personal. But the dynamic difference is really we're close emotionally, and but the only real difference is that Himbo can't come rub my feet in person. That's really
Sunshine
the
says
difference.
yay. Sunshine says yay for short doms. And I
I
think you would talk about a different Sunshine.
Okay,
Um,
maybe.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, hello to you, Sunshine, as well. But my friend Goddess Sunshine, love them, but I would double down with them. We've talked about it with a sub that they're protecting because I want to get in their hole. So
the
I've
sunshine
said
in
it
the chat,
respectfully.
the sunshine in the chat is my key holder.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
let's talk about aftercare. All right, we
Mm.
all need to be mindful. I'm trying. I'm learning to be more mindful about everything I do. I have to consciously try to be
Yeah.
mindful of after a liver transplant. My brain. I'm discovering the world again. Let's put it that way. So, what are some ways to make aftercare special? Not just I'm talking. Not just putting your hand through their hair or just petting them or putting a blanket on them. What are some ways to kind of make it special for them? Like, really care, to show them that you care.
Yeah. Also, real quick, just to go full circle, I was right. It was a whole month. And hello to my baby bear, because Bear is watching. They texted me. They texted me in all caps with tears. A whole month.
Oh,
Anyway.
we'll get to that. Big man, we'll
Anyway.
get to that 1 month.
At
Remind us.
Yeah. Anyway.
So aftercare.
Aftercare. So that friend that we can't name, actually, thanks to that friend, that was the first thing that I actually had a first article release on, was aftercare. And I'm currently working on a article that stresses ongoing care and dynamics just as well as aftercare, because aftercare is super important, but we also need to be stressing ongoing care in these relationships that we hold with people. Aftercare, a way to make it better or more special, is active listening to your partner's needs and wants, and being direct and asking them how you can better take care of them in their time of need. Also, knowing their love languages will really step up your whole aftercare game, just because, say their love language is words of affirmation. So aftercare for them might be doing a scene run over and you complimenting how well of a performance they did. Or their love language is physical touch. So a good aftercare technique for them would be a cuddle, a really good cuddle, or a really good hug. It all depends on the person.
Yeah. That's what I love about the kink community. Everyone's different. And like, even for example, my personal fetishes, I'm not like everybody else, and no one else is. Like, everyone else is different, is unique, and finding that out about someone, that is the fun part. In my opinion, that's why I love the kink community. So, Dominican Robinson asks, do your punishments change or adapt depending on which sub you're?
They do change and adapt, just because it's funny that you were saying, like, that's what I love about kink. I always have said BDSM and kink are really fluid, and that is super, super true in dynamic work, where there's one punishment for a submissive that might work for them, whereas another submissive, they might enjoy it and it might really just read more as like a punishment. They might not learn something. Because to me, when I have to punish a submissive, that means that I am correcting a behavior that I also have fucked up on, and we're having to navigate something new and change something. Where a punishment is just something fun to do to scare them into line. So yes, my punishments do change and adapt depending on the sub, because humans are different.
Stan Vladimir asks, what type of music do you use in your sessions as well as for aftercare?
I'm a very eclectic person when it comes to my music taste. I think, as we've seen here, I have a Commandant playlist on Spotify that I use for my sessions. And then for aftercare, I really just turn the music all the way down, or I put on lo-fi, Zelda lo-fi to be exact, because nerd.
You have I'm very, I don't know, I would say manic or obsessive compulsive, OCD about it. Like, when I have certain songs that kind of get me in the mood to do certain things. You know what I mean? Do you have a certain song that gets you in the mood for a session?
Edge
Like,
by
like,
Rez.
I'm sorry, say it again.
Edge by Rez and Revenge of the Orchestra by Apache.
Ah, okay. I have seen, Stan Vladimir says, I've seen kink can have a positive effect to relationships. What are the signs that you are not in a healthy relationship and that you've been mind fucked in the wrong way?
Ooh, Stan wants me to be therapist. Okay, I like this. So, signs that you're not in a healthy relationship: if you are not able to open up about your feelings with that person comfortably, or you feel like, oh God, I'm upset about my workday, but I can't tell Sally about it because Sally will blow up and get upset with me because I'm upset. That's not a healthy relationship. If they emotionally drain you, and not in a good way or a fun way, you know what I mean with the differences if you're kinky, then it's probably a sign to get out. I know that it's easy to look at these relationships and these dynamics through rose-colored glasses, but normally when your gut is telling you this isn't right and I should leave, then you should. If they're ignoring your needs or wants as a person, if they're wanting you to change yourself for them, If they're cutting you off from friends and family, like contact, and that's not in a like actual DS agreement, and there's actually no consent there, that's also, those are all like pretty loud red flags that I can just shoot off right off the bat.
I have a personal question I need to ask you. Okay, I'm older than you, and you got into the kink community very young, correct? Right.
Mhm.
There's a lot of toxic masculinity out there in there. My goal is not only to grow older and survive, but I want to do it with some kind of sophistication, some kind of, I guess, charm, but also decency. Let's put it that way. But I am kinky to the core. So
Mhm.
through your travels, through all the people you've talked to, how can I grow old kinky yet gracefully?
There's a time and place for everything, and always know your audience. If there's one thing that I've learned about carrying oneself with grace, I'm a klutz. So, like walking, I cannot carry myself with grace, but speaking, I do pretty decently. There's a time and place for everything.
Yeah.
There's a time and place for everything.
Wise words,
That's
because
really
I
it.
know there's a lot of men watching this, so please take some advice from the commandants.
There's a
I
time and place
implore
for
you
everything. Think with the head on your shoulders, not the one between your legs.
to. Okay, I ask this to everybody. I want to know what's in your head. Let's say you have endless resources. You can do anything you want, anywhere you want, with anybody you want, with as many people as you want. No taboo. What do you do? What is your ultimate kinky fantasy?
I want to move to Germany, preferably with all of my friends and loved ones. So, Baby Bear, my fiance, director Jez, I would lump in Goddess Sunshine. I don't know if she's listening. Maybe I'd invite Kat, really anybody who was tolerable, but it would be kinky commune time. And I would want to run, not necessarily a harem, just because I would let my toys go out and play with others in their free time, but I want to run an ethical whorehouse out of like a cathedral
Yes.
looking dungeon mansion. It's funny that you brought up pimping earlier because I'm like, I want that so bad. And every time I talk about wanting to be a pimptress, I'm like, with all of the ethics and all of the consent, I swear I'm a good
Yeah.
person. But like, just imagine how hot it would be. And then I'm like, I sound like a psychopath. Like, you know, that scene and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia where Charlie has the fucking whiteboard and
Yeah.
he's like, "Who is Pepe Sylvia?" It's like me explaining like all of the consent and everything that I would do and make sure before I pimp out my horse. You know? Like,
Yeah.
oh god, I want to be like a modern day Heidi Fleiss without the with all of the morality in place and ethics. Like I want to be a good Heidi Fleiss. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not,
Yeah.
you
I
know?
was I was watching and I'll say it over and over again. Personal services. Please check it out on Tubi. I think it's on now.
It's a
One of
magical little place.
yeah,
They
but
have a
personal
Star
services
Trek channel. It's great.
based
Anyway.
on a true story. It's about a woman in a true story in England who kind of just sets up a little brothel, and it's really kinky. A lot of forced feminization, and it's all like old real people. So it's like there's the grittiness to it. It's not really glamorous at all,
I
and that's what
have
makes it very charming.
I have had the fantasy of being a madam since I was a little girl.
Check out this movie,
Yeah, I'll have to.
Personal Services.
Please message it to me because I have a really bad
Definitely.
memory.
Well,
But
that's great.
like,
Okay,
yeah, I've
so
always had that fantasy. And every time I explain it to somebody, I'm like, please don't cancel me because like I promise you that I want to do it with all the ethics in place, but I just want a kinky commune where I whore out anybody who's willing.
and when it comes to like the whole sissification thing, there are men who pay money to fulfill that fantasy of being pimped out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so if you think about it, like, it's a
Mm.
yeah, it's a very complicated fetish. Let's put it that way.
It is, and
It's a very complicated
it takes a lot of like
imagination.
imagination, but also negotiations, and it takes a
Yeah,
while
right.
to get to that point in a relationship. Like, but yeah, I want
It
it
does. It
for
takes a
sure.
long time to be comfortable being pipped out and like celebrate it.
I'm so open, like, about wanting to be a pimptress, just not on, like, Twitter, because, like, that's the worst place to really be open about your fetishes, because then, like, 50 million 19-year-olds will be like, "You're a terrible human. You wanna pimp
We are
people
saying
out."
this is role play. We are talking about
Eh,
consensual role play.
consensual role play,
We're talking about
between
consensual
adults.
role play between adults.
Mm,
No one is pimping anything. No one's breaking the law.
I'm
It's
not,
role play.
no. No, it's
Tobey
role
Maguire
play.
is not really Spider-Man. You know what I mean?
You can't tell me that. That's
I'm
like Bruce
serious.
Wayne isn't really Batman.
Speaking of media, let's play rapid fire recommendations. And they never
Okay.
end up rapid fire. They always go off into tangents. We end up talking about this stuff. Right. All right. They don't have to be the be all end all either. They don't have to, like, I'm gonna say recommend a film. It doesn't have to be like your signature film. It's just a film that you like. Simple.
Yeah.
Recommend a film.
Snatch.
That's
It's a
just
good one.
great.
Such a
That's
good
just
movie.
so good. Like Dags.
You like Dags?
I like Dags. I
Bricktop's
like that.
villain
Yeah.
monologue is like goals for me.
That was
Gotta
used.
know a man who knows a pig farm.
Shout out to Necro. Shout out to Necro, the rapper. He used
Hmm.
that in Dead Body Disposal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well done too. He does
Yeah.
a very good job with that. Okay. Speaking of that, recommend a song.
Oh shit. Dear Enemy by Nightclub. I'm going to see them in March. So.
Recommend a book.
Everything's Eventual by Stephen King.
Oh, I'm a fan of Stephen King.
Me too. He's my favorite.
The woman I wrote a book about, and the coolest way to kill yourself, is a tribute to her. She's fascinated with Stephen King, especially the Dark Tower. And
Yeah.
one of the things, and I thought it was kind of romantic looking back, is that she was very ill towards the later days, and it was right when the final book of the Dark Tower came out, and like she got to complete it, she got to finish it, and she was very proud of that. You know what I mean? All right, okay. Recommend a television show.
It's the first one that came to mind, and everybody can judge me in the comments. Deep Space Nine.
Oh.
Or Strange New Worlds, because it's modern and I won't be an old lady and recommend a show from the 90s. Star Trek Strange New Worlds, because Daddy Pike. He's so hot.
You mentioned Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
And also It's Always Sunny, but that depends on your level of sense of humor, because they get pretty raunchy with it.
I think they're great. Like
I do too.
The Dennis system.
Oh my god. I need my tools. I need
And the sadism of and there's this one the woman, what's it, D, who has a soldier boyfriend who she treats horribly. She makes him sit in the hot car with the windows up. Like you're not supposed to do that with dogs or children. Well, she does it on purpose. this guy who's like this poor guy, he was like a soldier, and there's this weird sadistic quality to the characters. Originally it was called Jerks.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, original title. All right, we did
sense.
movie, TV show. Recommend a meal.
Ooh, chicken curry, orange curry.
Yes,
I love curry so much.
Spice. They who was I talking with? That I think it was Ezra. Talking about how spice is for sadists or masochists, really, because it's pain, basically. All right, we did the meal. So we have two games. Your choice. We could do both if you want. Well, let's do. This is a new one. We could do the word association game where I say a kink and you say the first thing that comes to your head, or we could do the overrated, underrated, and why. So if I say garter belts, you say underrated or overrated, then say why. Which would you rather play? First thing that comes to your head, or overrated, underrated?
Overrated, underrated, because I have goblin brain and it could go left field so fucking fast.
Okay. All right. This is the first time I'm ever playing this.
Oh.
Ever. All right. I got this from watching Genesis Peorage Psych TV.
Nice.
So shout out to that. All right. Overrated, underrated. French maid outfits.
Overrated.
Chastity devices.
Overrated in a way, but not like fully set on that one.
Floggers.
Underrated. It's personally biased, but underrated.
Canes.
Underrated. Personally biased, but underrated.
Chains.
Oh, so underrated. Oh, don't get me started. I think rope bondage is super overrated. I know I beat you to the punch there, but
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say
yeah.
rope. That's
Overrated. So overrated. So oversaturated. Not hating on rope people. I just think it's over. It's we've had enough. We need variety.
The 50s housewife dynamic.
Oh, overrated. So overrated and unhealthy right now.
Oh yeah.
The trad wife movement is dangerous.
Okay. All right. The the master slave dynamic.
I'm gonna say overrated because that whole dynamic is racially rooted and derived from colonization culture, and there's something that I am actively working on, and that's decolonizing kink.
Yes.
And master slave culture comes from colonization culture, so overrated.
Okay. Water sports.
Underrated.
Scarification.
Underrated.
Splashing.
Underrated.
Face slapping.
Oversaturated, but underrated, because
Okay.
I think that we need to have more highlights on it to do it safely.
Okay. Now we've reached the end. No pun intended. Scat.
I'm going to say underrated because as an educator, I keep an open mind to all things. I'm not going to do it because I just don't want to. But underrated. I would love to visit India. I would absolutely love to visit India. It's on my places to visit.
That's because PD asks, since you love curry, would you ever visit India? It's
Visit
funny how you
India,
just
yeah.
like, for those listening, not watching, you're just just out of nowhere, just non sequitur. I'd love to
Sorry.
visit
I
India.
read so fast. I read
No, it's
so fucking
awesome.
fast.
I love the show's chaos. Is perfect.
Yeah, but yeah,
Okay, PD asks, what is the most humiliating thing you've done to a slave, a sub mistress?
my humiliation style is a little bit different from what is shown in femdom content. I like to force subs to take accountability for their fuck ups, and that proves to be humiliating in themselves. I force them to admit it, normally either to me in my face while looking me in the eye or in the mirror. And then we correct the behavior as follow suit. But accountability can be pretty humiliating. That and making them dance to popular pop music is pretty fucking hilarious. But if you guys want to follow somebody who's really good at showing humiliation tasks, like a submissive, I'm sure you follow them, Nick. Moosh sub.
Okay.
I love Moosh, and they always are sharing what their mistress is having them do out of humiliation, and it's pretty funny stuff.
So how can we get creative with humiliation? And still
Have
kind of be
fun.
ethical and
Have fun with it. So
any examples?
my thing with humiliation is you have to introspect a lot with it, because like somebody might want to be humiliated about their weight gain, whereas another person might not want to be humiliated with that. So that's how you get creative, is you ask the targeted questions of, okay, well, what do you like to be humiliated about? Do you like small penis humiliation? Do you like to be made fun of for the way that you dress? Do you like to be made fun of because you can't dance? What is it? And then once you figure that out, you can cherry pick and pull what would be most humiliating for that person. If I know somebody's into small penis humiliation, I am going to find my biggest toy and I'm going to make them wear a strap on. And then I'm going to make them penetrate things with that strap on top of their small penis. And I'm going to talk about how inferior it is. Humiliating.
Humiliating.
And degrading, but like I'm sadist. I go way deep in there. If somebody's not comfortable with, if they want to be humiliated for the way that they read aloud, I would make them read a book to me.
I wrote 3. If you need people to read them, so there you go. You can check them
Yeah,
out. Nicholas Tanek. They're on Amazon, Goodreads, all that good stuff.
buy
So
them.
let's. You've helped so many people. You're an educator. You've helped so many people. But how would you say that kink, BDSM culture, this lifestyle, how do you think it? How would you say it has helped you?
Like you said earlier when we first started talking, kink saved your life. Kink absolutely saved my life. I have never learned so much about myself until I fully embraced who I actually am. And part of that was through kink and sexual exploration. I never would have learned how to communicate as effectively as I do if it wasn't for the the intensive communication that it takes to make a DS dynamic thrive. I wouldn't be as comfortable with accountability for my mistakes if I didn't learn how to be comfortable with that uncomfortability as a dominant. I wouldn't learn I wouldn't have learned of how to respect people and their personal space and their personal boundaries if it wasn't for kink, because those types of relationships really taught me how to respect others, and it taught me how to respect myself. It gave me a sense of confidence. It gave me somewhere to belong because I grew up being the black sheep. I'm a goth kid. I've always, it
Yeah,
never just suddenly happened one day. I've always been a goth kid. I've been a goth. I
me
say
too.
it even I haven't it doesn't look like it in this approach, but we've talked about hip hop music a lot. I grew up in the ghettos of upstate New York and Texas. So, I'm a goth hood rat. That's what I call
Okay.
myself.
Yeah,
So, I l I like that even though in my dominance, I'm still allowed to be a goth hood rat. And it's fueled just the confidence for me to shine as best as I can through that. And kink has allowed me to work through some of the deepest traumas that could have broken me. I could have
I
died.
can. I cannot agree with you more. And thank you for living. Simple as that. I can't really express that
Thank
enough.
you for living. Thank you for surviving.
Thank you. Out there, it seems like it's the Wild West. Platforms are people are being deplatformed all the time. People are being canceled.
Woo.
People are, you know, Twitter's now X. We were talking about Eros and stuff like that. So, what are some ways that we can keep the kink going, the communication going between kinky people? What do you use? What are you using now? And what can we use in the future?
Discord. I use Discord a lot, like just to keep in touch with personal friends. I wouldn't say servers. I'm in a couple, but like I really just use it to keep in touch with the homies. If you're wondering about staying in touch with me and all of my kinky things, everything's on my website, which is houseofthecommandant.com. But I use FetLife, and even though FetLife is a cesspool within itself, at least it's fucking kink friendly, and they are actively working on making it a better platform. And making social media platforms is really difficult, and it's a bigger issue than the platforms. We need to be focusing on destigmatizing and decriminalizing sex work and all of those things too, because that's ultimately what it boils down to. The reason why these platforms are falling under is because of banks and because of puritanical culture. So if you really want
Yes.
to make changes and you really want to see changes, you need, and I'm sorry, I don't like to make things political, but you need to vote. You need to
Yes.
look out for petitions that are going against the FOSFA, CESFA agreements and stuff like that, or FESTA, whatever the fuck it is. But you need to be in the know for the laws that they're trying to pass, so that way we can keep, like the don't say gay laws. I know that you don't think that that affects you now, but it will.
Oh, of course,
Yeah,
without a doubt.
like the
They're
anti-drag
coming.
bills,
They're
they're
coming to
going
get
to
us.
come. Yeah, exactly. They're going
They're
to
coming to
come
get
for
us.
us next. And
Yes.
so it does affect you. No matter where you fall in the political spectrum, it does affect you. So you need to act out in that way.
We
As
have to
well
organize.
as, yeah, we have to organize no matter differences aside, you know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
This is the one common goal. We have this one common community, and we need to all come together to make sure that these things don't die. I actually I don't know when it's dropping, but I do want to shout this person out if you don't mind, because he's a very nice man,
Please
and
promote everybody and anything you want.
he's been having a hard time. What's his name is Richard Schertzer. He's working on a sex worker, like a sex work documentary. It's to decriminalize sex work. And he is a wonderful human being. He is taking time out of his own day to make sure that us sex workers get the platform that we deserve through this documentary, to make sure that our voices are heard. And I do know that he's working on that. I don't know when it's going to be released, but I do know that it's in the works. But of course, it's going to take a lot more than a documentary. So if you don't enjoy being censored, and you don't enjoy people like me being stigmatized against, or people like Nick being stigmatized against, speak up.
Yes.
Speak up,
Yes.
be
Fight
loud,
the power.
because
Speak up.
support us loudly, because we need it more than ever.
Well said.
Thank
Definitely.
you.
Well said. So not everyone's on social media, not everyone's on
No.
Discord and stuff like that, but there are kinky people. What's a kind way? What's something kind, simple, every day we could do, a kinky person can do for another kinky person?
Gratitude and compassion.
Yes.
Your kink is not my kink, and that's okay.
Wonderful.
Yep.
And my final question. We're all learning. We're both learning, we're all, and we're all going down this path together, really. I'm into new things, I'm sure you're into new things every day. Where do you want this path to lead you?
I don't know. Like, in the grander scheme of things, my logical brain, I don't know. But the places that I do know is I want to go international, and my number one goal for my life as the commandant, no matter how glitz and glamorous being worshipped is, I want to help people, no matter what that entails, no matter how much my heart gets broken over it. I just want to help. And I know that that means, someday going internationally. And I just want to keep educating. I just want this kinky path to keep me learning and keep me educating as long as it'll have me.
Hollywood said, hell yes.
Hell yes.
Hell yes.
Hell yeah.
So we're going to wrap it up. We have a lot to talk about too afterwards,
Oh,
off
yeah.
camera.
Yeah.
But how can we get in touch with you? How can people get in touch with you? Please promote everything and anything you want to promote.
So the best way, if you're trying to be a client, because I do compartmentalize, if you're trying to be a client and serve me, I'll get that out of the way, so those thinking with your dicks can, be on your merry way. I have a whole dominatrix services tab on my website, houseofthecommandant.com/dominatrix services. Follow my instructions and be on your merry way. I'll talk to you on my loyal fans, and that's really about it. If you want to get in touch with me to ask me questions, oh, thank you so much, Sunshine. I appreciate that. She says, Commandant, thank you for coming in tonight. You're wonderful. I appreciate that. Thank you. If you want to just get in touch with me in regular chat, I'm always open to that. I'm always open to collaborations. I'm always open to brain picking as I'm able. You can reach out to me via my contact form on my website, or my X account, or my Instagram, or my FetLife. It's really whichever I get to first.
Stan Vladimir says, Commandant, it was a pleasure seeing you in the show. I admire people like you. I wish you the best going forward and have a wonderful evening. Stan, thank you, Stan.
Thank you for coming on, Stan. You've always been he's always been so interactive with my posts and stuff. I'm so happy that you came on. So thank you.
Stan is part of the backbone of your kinky friends. All of the banners, all the artwork, it's all him.
Oh, I love that. I was wondering if he came from like when our friend came on and my name got dropped, but I wasn't sure.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, around that time. Around that time.
Yeah, I think
Even
so.
no, before that, he was around. He was around.
Yeah.
He's a
No, I
kinky
know,
friend.
but like I'm thinking that
He's
that's possibly how the pipeline to him being in my like
shout out to Stan.
notifications. Yeah, because
Stan's right in there.
he follows me on Twitter and on Instagram. So shout out to Stan.
Definitely
Thank you.
treat him right, Doms. Treat him right.
Yeah.
Uh, so we're gonna end it with this. The kinky rabbit hole goes deep, and kinky Google. There's always somewhere else to click in your mind, so to speak. Right. So what would you like to do that you haven't done before?
I mean, I've never been international, so traveling internationally is something I'd like to do before I die. That would be great. I want to live over there. But also,
Mm,
I want so badly to go to the Femdom Summit run by
yes.
Anana Justice. And if I ever get nominated for the Femdom Awards or the BDSM Awards, I'll probably cry.
Shout out to Nana Justice. She was on the show.
I I
Magnificent
look up
book.
to her. I look up to her so
Absolute
so
magnificent
deeply.
book. I mean,
I
just
respect her so much.
brilliant, elegant, just magnificent. A power in
Another
the
person that I
legend.
absolutely love and adore, Simone Justice.
Oh yes,
Yeah, I
yes.
love her. Some God.
Let's give some
Mm.
shout outs. Let's give
Yes.
some love. Give some
If you're
flowers out.
wondering, yeah, no, if you're wondering who made Kinky, like who inspired Kinky Google's inception, Simone Justice is the reason why I thought I could do what I'm doing now. She's the reason why I'm still doing it. She's the number one person I've always looked up to as a dominant. I've always said that I want to be her when I grow up. Eric the Red says, "Thank you, Commandant, for being so informative." Of course.
All right,
It's
you
my
want to give
job.
Kinky Google? All right. If I say a fetish, right?
Mm.
Would you first person that comes to your head to recommend?
Yeah.
All right. This is I've never done this before. You've never done
I
this
believe,
before.
yeah, I believe
All
in
right.
recommendations.
All right. Let's do it. Okay. Pup play.
Handler Milo.
Okay. Kitty play.
Athena Fatal.
Splashing.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know of anybody
Okay.
who kind of specializes in that one. Maybe
Sissy.
Katarina, but I'm not too sure.
Sissification.
Am I allowed to suggest myself, or is that too biased?
Of course. No. Yeah. Yes. Right on. So,
Me.
okay.
I love them.
Um. What else? Kidnapping. Consensual kidnapping.
I'm gonna throw out me and Katarina for that one.
All right. I want to ask you about consensual kidnapping.
Yeah, I'm very much into that. Yeah, big fan.
What makes a successful consensual kidnapping?
The element of surprise. You really got to be a good mind fucker, honestly. Because
Take
like,
us through a scene.
so ideally, you don't want to do it in the same day. Like, you don't want to have the negotiation talk in the same day as the kidnapping. You want to give them a scene rundown, maybe like depending if they're like an ADHD goldfish like I am. If I was the one being kidnapped in this scenario, it would really be like 3 days and I'd forget. But like a week, 2 weeks, talk out, do every detail about the scene, make sure that they agree to everything because kidnap scenes can be really hardcore and they can lead into like CNC and stuff like that. Normally they do. So you lay everything out and then you give it some time and you wait for your moment to strike and you strike. Obviously, you have already negotiated the good times to strike,
Yeah.
the least optimal times to strike, and then you do so. But it's all about the element of surprise. You got to actually scare them.
All right, we're gonna wrap it up. You've kidnapped the hearts of everybody, and the ransom is $1 million. We'll split it.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, great. Coming up, please stay on the line. It's been an absolute pleasure talking with you. I had a great time, and everyone else did too. Thank you. Straight up, thank you for being kinky, being out and kinky, and helping people. people don't say thank you, like you said. There isn't gratitude, you know. And I'm thanking you. You're a force. You're an inspiration, and that's what this is all about. That's what I'm all about.
And
Thank you
thank
very
you for
much.
doing your show. Honestly, we need more. I don't mean to interrupt you and I'll let you close, but I do want this out on the live first. We need more submissive ran. And I know that you're Switch, but
Yes.
you willingly talk about your submission. We need more Switch ran things too, but like submissives have a hard time advocating for themselves. So seeing you run this, you do good work too. So although I appreciate
Oh,
all of your thanks, you need thanks too because it's a good show.
thank you. Thank you very much.
Mm.
Please follow me on Twitter, Nicholas Tanek. Follow the whole everybody, Friends Kinky. We are on Discord. We have a Discord chat group, YKF. It's I'm not really in it that much. I try to be. I can be. Yeah, Stan's in there, and yeah, everyone's in there.
I think I'm in there. I need to
I
clear
think
up
you're
the
in there too.
servers, but I think I'm in there.
Yeah, yeah. We have Patreon. We are in talks. Let's just say we have interesting plans in the 420
Twirling my
area.
I'm
Yeah.
twiddling my mustache.
Yes, yes. Get your hipster mustache, your twirly mustache ready. Yeah, but just stay tuned. YourKinkyFriends.com. Follow me, Instagram, Nicholas Tanek. Buy my books. We're on Spotify too. And just go out, be kinky. You know, you know the rules, everybody.
Be a slut. Do whatever you want.
Never waste the dom's time, but always be cool, be kind, keep an open mind. Have a great night.